Hey there, I'm Tim Anderson. I am a breath worker. I've been doing it for more than 20 years. And this is a this is an accompaniment to the written version that's on evendeeper.net. On the web, you can go to that website and look up, I think, under paired breathwork, and you'll see how to do the same, basically what I'm telling you now, but it's written. But this is a little better because you can see what I'm actually going to show you, and it's probably a little bit easier to learn this way. So I'm just going to go through this, like 4 pages of notes, pretty quickly, and if you want to go back and listen again, that's cool. If you've already done this, it's probably good to watch it anyway once in a while. Okay, so this is for facilitating and for breathing, not just for breathing. So this is really a great prep for doing paired breath work. So the first thing is that you have to know about tetany. Tetany is kind of a complicated thing chemically. I think CO2 builds up in your system, and your fingers and lips and other parts of your body, stomach can get stiff and tingly. First tingly, then stiff, and it can almost feel like you're paralyzed. And you shouldn't panic at all. Just keep breathing unless it starts to hurt. And then you just back off. Either shallow your breathing out or deepen, or shallow your breathing out, or I don't know why I'm nervous. There's only a phone in the room. Shallow your breathing out or slow it down. Or stop altogether if it really hurts. But don't let it get to the point where it hurts. Just when it starts to bug you, back off. Also, you can put your hands under, you're lying down in this kind of breath work, but put your hands palm down under your buttocks, and that keeps your fingers flattened out, splayed out, and it doesn't bother you as much because your fingers tend to go like this. If your lips do this, if anything on your body acts funny, don't worry about it. It's tetany. It's extremely common. You're just getting a lot of oxygen, and it's causing your biochemistry to change, and it stiffens especially your muscle cells. So when you're the facilitator, we want you to be in the healer mode. Step out of your own stuff. Even if you've just done your breath work, we hope to give you a long enough break in the middle to recover from having breathed. But go ahead and just step into the therapist, mom, listener, giver mode. Don't be thinking about your other stuff, your personal stuff. Just be in the nurse, doctor, shaman role for the person that you're facilitating for. Keep your eyes on your breather. Don't look around. There's interesting things going around the room, interesting sounds. Don't look at them, ever. Pay attention to every single breath that your breather is breathing. And just give them your undivided attention. Before you start the session, before the music starts, promise to your breather as the facilitator that you're going to watch them for every single breath, that you're going to follow the whole breath, beginning, middle, and end of every breath, and ask them if they will promise or kind of commit to you to take your suggestions seriously. They don't have to obviously do everything or anything that you say, but I like to say that I'm going to try it. I'm going to really give it a full effort, because, and this goes for facilitators who are walking around the room too, just really go for it. Try not to get into that resistant mode. Get into the mode of just openness and just, commitment to giving it your best shot. So there's 3 kinds of breaths, and this is important. And this is a part where it's really good that we're doing a video. Never done a video before to teach this, but it's boring to teach this over and over and over again, especially if you've already heard it. So the first breath is the fast and shallow breath. We call it the Kawasaki or the dog breath, and it's really good at the beginning of a session. So it's like, that gives you a lot of air really fast, and it's not going to take you super, super deep, but it's going to take you deep enough that you can start the process well. And also, if you're kind of deep in the process and you get scared or you get bored or whatever, you don't think you can keep doing the deep, fast breath or the deep and slow breath, just go with the fast and shallow. Go with the dog breath, the Kawasaki breath. You won't lose. You won't come out of the process. You'll stay in it. And you might even deepen, especially if you go really fast. So that's fast and shallow. Slow and deep is like probably the kind of the breath that we mostly want to do, because fast and deep is the best breath, but it's hard to do. You can't keep going fast and deep forever. So slow and deep is we can also call it the whale breath or the elephant breath or the Cadillac breath. And then fast and deep is and that's maybe the running horse breath or the dolphin breath, the cheetah breath, the tiger breath. This is the dog, like the big dog breath. This is the breath that you're really, you're going to go with both that and the slow and deep. You're going to go down deep fast, and you're going to stay there. And a lot of stuff's going to happen quickly with those breaths. Don't, anyway, I'll come back to this. I have it in order, so I want to jump ahead because I know this stuff. So when you're setting up the breath session, you want to make a nice soft nest. It's really good to have like a camping pad or foam thing of some kind of bunch of soft sleeping bags, with cotton. You don't want to have a pillow under your head. A pillow under your knees is nice. You probably don't want to have water. Water can be a distraction. Once the breathwork session starts, even if it's a 90-minute session, you don't need water. Just have a drink before you start. Obviously, don't eat a lot before you start for several hours. And don't overdo it on the water. And obviously no drugs. Maybe this isn't obvious, but no drugs or alcohol. This kind of work is pretty deep and pretty powerful, and you don't want drugs and alcohol to confuse it. It's going to be intense enough as it is. So when you're doing breath work, you're lying down with no pillow. Your eyes are closed. Your mouth is open. This isn't a calming breath like in regular yoga where you're trying to ground yourself. This is an excitement breath. It's like more in the mystical tradition. So the more air, the better, and a lot more air can come through your mouth and can come through your nostrils. You want to really work hard on the inhale. Like breathe the inhale like it's your last breath. All your effort is on the inhale, and you want to relax fully on the exhale. So, soft belly, just completely collapse your body. Let yourself surrender to die and kind of really focus on your belly, soft belly on the out breath. So it's just completely let that happen. So you want to keep the breaths circular, which means no pauses, not at the top, not at the bottom. As much as you can. I mean, no one can do this forever. And we're going to have resistance. Thoughts are going to come up, feelings, fears, instincts, whatever. But try to keep it going as much as you can without pauses, like a wheel rolling down a hill. I'm really working on the exhale and really relaxing the out breath. You also want to take the sound out of it as much as possible. Any sound in your throat is your vocal cords engaging, and that's resistance. That's going to slow the process down. It's also dramatic, and it also annoys your neighbors. So do it if you have to for a while, but then try to make your breath just the breath, the sound of the air moving in and out, not this. I mean, sighing can help you, and all that is great, but try not to get into a habit. Like some people like to hoot like, ooh, on the exhale, or it's just drama, and it makes people think that you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Everything is perfect. You're doing the best you can. You don't need to perform for anybody. Try to let the performance piece go, and nobody can do it. I perform, and I've been doing this for a long time. So before the breath session starts, also you want to check in with your facilitator about how you're feeling, about what you're thinking, what you're scared of, and what your intentions or your goals are. The intentions and goals that you come up with are often not what happens, because the breath work is very powerful and the unconscious just sort of does what it's going to do. But while you're highly conscious, fully conscious, go ahead and set an intention if you'd like to. It helps the facilitator more than anything else. And it also helps you, and a lot of people like it. So during the process, breathers, we want you to ask for everything that you want and need. So if you need, someone to work on your knees, or you want your facilitator to work on your feet, or you're going to get your neck or your shoulders, whatever, ask for that. And if you can't talk because you've got tetany, point with your little chicken fingers, point where you need the attention, but no sexual areas. Even if you guys are lovers, let go of the sexuality, especially, if you're breathing by yourself and you've already done lots of breath sessions and you're already lovers, you're on that's fine. But when you're with a group of people, or if this is a new process, and especially if you're with someone who's not a lover, we want to eliminate the second chakra as much as possible in terms of touch. Obviously, things, the air is going to go where it's going to go. Sexual feelings, libido gets activated. The breather is certainly invited to do what they want to do, not masturbate, of course. But don't ask for sexual touch, and certainly don't provide sexual touch, and don't sort of feed into the sexual area. We're always trying to get it up into the heart. It's fine, it goes where it goes, but we're aiming for the heart chakra as much as we can. This is the powerful piece in breath work. So I'm really serious about that. I used to breathe people a lot in group settings, and sometimes people would come in, it was like a date. Please, I beg you, don't make this a date scene. And it's resistance, mainly because this is going to go deeper than the sexual level. And you're going to be happier in the long run if you go for the heart and don't spend too much time on the sexuality piece. Okay, can you go sit? This dog likes love. Okay, so facilitators, relax. When you're facilitating, don't go from thing to thing maniacally. Just try to keep focused slowly on your breather, but don't, you don't have to try everything fast from thing to thing to thing to thing. Just kind of try something. If it, do it for as long as it works, and then go to something else. You want to be a non-anxious presence. That's what we say in therapy. Another trick, here's a good trick. If you're not sure what's going on, or even just in general, can you please sit? Come on, get down. This dog loves to lick. So you want to breathe with them, match their breath. Come on, go sit. Thank you. Go ahead, sit. Good girl, get down. Get down. She thinks I'm talking to her. So you want to match their breath. So it doesn't mean you have to breathe as deep as they do, but breathe with them, and that will help you get information, diagnose in a sort of intuitive way what they might need, where they're at. And you don't have to always do that, but it's just a good idea. And also, you can help them breathe at a level that you need them to breathe at by modeling the breath, by kind of matching their breath and then taking it deeper and taking it faster, helping them relax more by just being really quick. If they need to relax, just give them that sigh in the ear. If it's faster, to speed it up. Make sure they can hear you, because a lot of times there's music. So when you're facilitating, try what you think would work if you were breathing. That's how you kind of know when you're a facilitator. What would be good for me, given also what they've told you and what you know about them and what you're seeing. But also, if I were that person, I had told them, whatever. I'd just express what I've expressed. I'm doing what I'm doing. What would it be that I would need at this point? And sort of tune into your own body. And a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, that's also what they need, especially for matching breath. It's a nice trick. And don't forget what the breather told you about in their check-in. So that'll help you if you're in doubt as to what to do next. And also, I just want to say, if you're facilitating, don't worry. You're going to be fine. If you just give them your full attention and don't look around, follow them for every breath, give them, love them, care for them, this is going to be enough. Even if you just put your hands on them awkwardly and pay attention the whole 90 minutes, it's going to be good, or half an hour or an hour. Okay, I went over that. So also, if you're breathing, if you're the breather, you don't want to talk much. You don't want to move much. If you got to do some anger, pound some pillows. Don't break your hands. Don't hurt your hands. Don't hit things that can hurt you. But you don't want to get into this whole, I need this, please let me have that. I need to go there. Can you write this down? I need to tell you a story. try to let the words go, try to let the needs go. You can go fine without another drink of water. You might have to go to the bathroom, but don't be sure you do, because a lot of times it feels like you have to pee, but you know, it's just anxiety. And you can let that go and you'll be fine. And the feeling that you have to pee will go. If you do have to pee, be careful when you get, don't just jump up, because you could fall down. It doesn't hardly ever happen, but occasionally it does. And if you're the facilitator, be sure to, if they're going to go to the bathroom, help them get up, walk them there, stay behind them. Don't necessarily go in the bathroom with them, but make sure you don't just like let them walk off by themselves and just space out. No, take them to the bathroom and make sure that everything's fine. Um, while you're going to the bathroom, you want to keep the breath going, because it's, you have momentum. You don't want to lose it. So, and you can go to the bathroom just fine while breathing. Then you should be able to still hear the music if you're in a group setting. So here's all the things that breathers usually resist with. I made a list: talking, seducing, criticizing, closing your mouth, slowing down, not relaxing the exhale, just like staying tight the whole time, drinking water all the time, going to the bathroom all the time, complaining about the music, asking for DJing, falling asleep. We'll talk more about that. And just shallow breathing. So that's a big long list. We want to avoid all of those. So I'm not lying down. Eventually I want to make another one of these where we demonstrate breath work with the actual person breathing, and we hopefully will get to that. But this is all you need, basically. So, but I'll demonstrate, I'll talk about some positions and moves now. When you first start breathing, facilitating, the person's on the ground, maybe get above their head so they're like out in front of you and you're looking down, their head's kind of, below you, and you want to work on their shoulders and their neck, you could reach under the lower back, upper back. Again, there's no pillows. And I was going to say something. Anyway, also chest compression. So this is not an easy thing to learn, but it's a really good, super helpful. Oh, I was going to say this. You want to keep your hands on them most of the time, unless for some reason they say take your hands off, which is fine. I've occasionally asked for that. Usually I want hands on, because it's scary to do this work, because you're kind of getting really super high, non-ordinary state of consciousness. Your mind is going really fast. Your emotions are flowing. Your instincts are flowing. All three of your brains are working full speed. There's a little, metabolic fire that's flaring up every time you take a breath in every single cell in your body. And this is literally true. It's like there's a little campfire in every cell in your body, and you're blowing on it. It's as if you were blowing on it, and it's flaring. So it's a big deal, and people who aren't used to it, even if those of us who are used to it, it's still scary. So having hands on, very helpful. Chest compressions. Pushing down, then hold it down, and then when they try to breathe in, keep it down, and then let it up, so then they get the extra air, and then help them on the exhale by pushing down. You can push pretty hard on the person. Once they get the feeling for how good it feels to have their chest compressed, they're going to like it, and they're going to want more of that. Be really careful not to touch the breasts. It's hard with some people, but and if someone doesn't want their chest touched, that's fine. Anything they don't want is always fine, and they can always change their mind too. If you said you were okay with something and you don't want it, fine. But it really helps to get just have the lungs compressed. I've had people sit on my chest just to because it's really nice to have something to work against. The harder it is to work, in some ways, the easier it is to focus. I'm getting a little activated. We'll get more into some other tricks for helping people inhale. Then you can move to the side when you feel it. I usually start with the head and I move to the side. You can put a hand on the stomach and a hand on the chest, a hand on the low back. And also pushing down on the stomach works. Pushing down on the chest on the exhale, and then lightening up for the inhale, and then pushing down for the exhale. A really nice thing is to have your hands on the bottom of the feet, fingers to toes. You can also do it this way, heels to toes, but for some reason, I don't know why, it works better for me, your heel of your hand on the heel of their foot, the toe, fingers on the toes. Just beat on their feet, and sometimes this is really a nice, people can really get very activated by just having that kind of support. Um, so here's some advanced moves. I just mentioned the stomach chest compression, so you're pushing down on both when they inhale, letting go sort of after they start. Don't let go immediately, but like give them something to push against. So it's and then you push down. Okay. This is the tricky one that my own little invention that I kind of made up from hearing a lot of other things in breathwork classes. You can cover their mouth with their permission. You don't have to close the nose, but sometimes it helps. These days, I pretty much just put my hand in the mouth, and I don't know if you can hear me, so I'll just show it. So you're helping them to work the inhale, but you're giving them enough space between the fingers and your hands coming off their mouth so they get enough air, but they have to work for it. And on the exhale, you're opening your fingers or pulling your hand away from the mouth or both, so that's easy to exhale. So they're not having to blow against your hand, but just because the exhale needs to drop out, you just come out really quickly. You don't push the exhale, by the way. You just let it fall. Go sit. Go sit. Go sit. I'm gonna have to take her down. What else? Cover the mouth. Okay. A lot of you kind of know where to work on the person by where the movement is and where the movement isn't. So if there's a lot of movement in the legs, you can offer that. If you don't know them well, if you're not sure this is the right thing to do, say, I'm just going to offer you, or I'm going to give you something to push against. And you might want to put your hands above their knees so they have something to move their knees up against. The same thing with their hands. If they feel there's a lot of energy in the hands, the arms, any place, just give them some pressure there so they have something to push against. But you don't want to make a habit out of it. I once watched a guy do it was in a holotropic breath session. He did something like 2 hours of pure anger work. Just, You don't want to get stuck in anything except for the breath, except for really working the inhale, really dying and relaxing on the exhale, and keeping it circular. That's what you want to get stuck on. If a lot of times people are like moving their hips up and down, obviously some second chakra stuff, you don't want to put your hands necessarily right on their hips. It can be a little too much, a little too intimate. So if they do need that pressure, you can put a pillow over there or the blanket, push the blankets going over their hips, just sort of pull the blanket down. It feels really good to have your space respected. You never know what's going on for people. A lot of times trauma is coming up. And even if this is your lover that you're really close with, just giving them that sense that you really respect their body and their boundaries is super helpful. And they might, if this is your lover or someone's close, they're saying, they might say, just use your hands. This is not as good enough, but, which is fine. But just better safe than sorry. You don't want to you don't want to evoke a lot of fear of you because you're the breath worker, you're the therapist, you're in the position of being the helper. You want to help them feel as safe as possible. Okay. If you do the stomach, it's really great to do the stomach, but remember to do it clockwise. So you're pushing down, you're sort of kneading the stomach along the path of the large intestine, the colon, but that's a clockwise motion. Okay, but when you get down low, be careful to not get too close to the genitals. And also, when you're also pushing down in the stomach, especially when you're away from the xiphoid process, which is this bump right here, you don't want to push on that. But when you're down lower in the stomach and even lower part of the abdomen, you can push pretty deep, especially if they've been breathing for a while, and especially if they followed the rules and didn't eat too much before the breathwork session. Okay? Here's some things you can say. It's safe to breathe. I'm right here with you. Take in 5% more air. Really let go on the exhale. You can say to them, ask for what you need. Tell me what you need anytime you want. You can say, bring the breath from your knees up all the way to your neck, or to the top of your head, or from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. So they're getting a full breath. You're really coaching to completely fill their lungs with air, and also totally let it all go on the exhale. Like exhale everything. Sometimes it's good to push the exhale just for fun. Oh, I didn't write this. Here's another trick. Hold if you get kind of stuck, do 100 breaths as fast and deep as you can. Eyes closed, always eyes closed. And then hold it after 100 breaths for until you feel like not holding it. This can get you a little bit high, and it can get you a little bit dizzy and a little bit lightheaded, but can also take you into a very deep space. And it kind of, to me, it lightens the load of just like, oh my God, this is the drudgery. I'm not feeling anything. You will feel something if you've been breathing for a while, and then you decide to go for a really fast and deep breath, a lot of it, and then hold it. It just changes everything, the body chemistry. Emotions will start to flow. Oh, I didn't write this either. If they start to cry, which we really recommend, a good way to help someone cry is, especially if you see they're tightening their brow, if you put a thumb kind of softly on the third eye and push in a kind of a gentle way. You can play around up there too, different ways. All these are like soft touches can help with the tears, gentle, kind touches. If they start to cry, you want to coach them to cry on the exhale. So you don't want to lose the breath. People tend to and all kinds of stuff is going on, but you're not breathing. So cry on the exhale. Inhale afterwards. I know you want to take care of me, but I'm fine. I'm just demonstrating. She really just wants to be. Come on, lie down. This is ridiculous. Okay, where am I? Bring the breath from your knees to your neck. Right. Relax your face, tongue, eyes, and hips and stomach. These are all really good coaching things to say. Really let go of your face, let go of your tongue, let go of your eyes, let go of your hips, let go of your legs. Or if you see that there's some part of them, often the legs, no one's paying attention to. They're not breathing into their legs. Their legs have become sort of just there. So breathe into your legs, breathe into your feet. Soft belly. You've got this. My friend Larry used to say, close your eyes and get ready for the speed of light. I don't know what that means. Sometimes sort of the one hand clapping koan stuff kind of gets people going. Koan. Breathe like your favorite superhero breathes. Breathe like you wish your mother or father would have breathed. Breathe like it's your first and your last breath, depending on what they need. If they're having a hard time on the exhale, tell them to breathe like it's their last breath. That'll help them. If they're having a hard time taking the air in, tell them to breathe like it's their first breath. If the breather gets sleepy, coach more, talk more, engage them more, be more vigorous in touching, shake them, wake them, keep your hands on them. If they still are falling asleep, because in this kind of breath work, the kind of breath work that I like to do, which is influenced by Holotropic and a lot by Transformational, you don't want them to fall asleep. You want sleeping. You can always sleep when you die. Some people don't believe in this and they think it's really fine to sleep. I would do it a few times this way before you start innovating, because very few breath coaches believe in letting your breather sleep. But when you're breathing, it always feels like, I just want to let go, I just want to sleep, I don't want to phase into this stuff. Whatever's coming up is on its way out. You can get through it. It wouldn't be coming up if you couldn't handle it. So you're like, oh my God, I'm remembering some trauma. I'm remembering my dad didn't love me. I'm remembering I have to quit my job. I'm remembering I have to, sell my car. I don't want to face it, so I want to fall asleep. Or I want to resist in some other way. You can get through it. If it's coming up, you're ready for it. This is what we believe, we cathartic therapist types. Okay, and that's not just about belief. I've seen this work over and over and over again. I've seen a woman bathed in her own vomit and diarrhea, and she just wanted to keep breathing because she was re-experiencing her trauma, and she wanted to get it the hell out of her. And she did great, right? If she can do it, you can do it. So more vigorous touch, keep your hand on them. Oh, if you have to, you can have them open their eyes. If they're falling asleep, you can have them open their eyes. If they're still falling asleep, have them open their eyes and look in your eyes. If they're still falling asleep, have them sit up. You can sit behind them, you can sit in front of them, you can make eye contact. You can have them stand up. Some people just like to fall asleep. It's just really good. I've held people in a shower while breath work is happening. We're not going to do that in a group setting, but you can throw some water. Don't surprise them, but say, I'm going to put some water on you to help you stay awake. Standing, it's very hard to fall asleep while you're standing up, although I did have a guy do it. He was in a lot of resistance. I had to hold him outside in the rain while standing to keep him awake. Let them shallow out and slow down. I'm not sure what I meant by that. I know. If they're breathing hard and they keep falling asleep, then tell them just to relax and to try. Maybe they're pushing too hard. They don't need to do everything at once. It's one step at a time. Let them shallow their breath out or slow their breath down or both to try to keep them awake. Okay? So this is almost done. Too bad you're not here to ask questions. Then it would go for hours. We'll let you ask questions in sessions. And, on the Facebook page, you can also ask questions after you hear this. Aspects of the breath. This is the end. Focus. Pay attention to what's happening. Okay? Pay attention. Let your mind be open to what's going on. This isn't meditation in that strict sense. We're not trying to clear the mind. We're trying to focus the mind. And a lot of stuff will be coming up. It'll be very hard to clear your mind anyway. So relax. Whatever is coming up is on its way out, like I've said. A good way to envision this is like, we're going to pay attention and we're going to stay relaxed. How are we going to stay relaxed when all this stuff is coming at me? Well, when you go to watch a train, you can get pretty close to the train safely. You can get 10 feet away from the train and enjoy watching it go by. But a good place to watch the train is not on the tracks, right? So relax. Stay off the tracks. Let your emotions and your thoughts and your instincts come. Let them go by. Let them go right through. Let them come in and let them go out, right? You want to let the circularity of all you've experienced happen. So it comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. Let it go out, okay? So breathe. The breath is a very big part of it. It's one of the aspects of the breath. Breathe harder, breathe more, breathe deeper. More air equals more life. More air equals more happiness. One of the things I coach people is breathe in the amount of happiness you want in your life. How much happiness do you want in your life? Breathe in that much air. And then the last aspect, the fourth one, is surrender and trust. So keep those four things in mind: focus, relaxation, breath, and surrender. I can't think of anything else. I think that's the main stuff. I hope you have a really great session, whether you're doing this at home with a friend. It is really safe, I think. It's really wonderful. The breath is a magical piece of us that for some reason our culture of denial doesn't tell us about. I mean, obviously Rumi was doing a lot of breath work. There's been a lot of breath work down through the years. It's more fun than television. So have fun with it. Whatever you do is perfect. It doesn't matter. Everybody starts where they are. We all have our resistance. And even if you just show up and lie there and squirm around and complain that you're not good enough, that you are good enough. You did a great job. You came. You listen to the music. Oh, I didn't say this. When you're breathing, let the music be like a wave, and you're going to surf it. So you're going to use the rhythm of the music to keep you going. That's why we have music, because that's the main reason. Also to keep your mind off of it to some degree. So you just want to breathe with the beat. Boom, 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 boom. You can also go half beat. You can, if it's too fast, just boom, 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 boom. Or you can double it, or you can even slow it down more. So I wish I could think of all the things I haven't told you. I think I've told you plenty. Have a great time. Love you. Mean it.